Skirk is almost on her way into Genshin after being first seen back in Fontaine's Archon quest. A lot of people, including myself, have been very excited to see what she can do in combat. While I don't really want to get into too much detail about her, there are just so many parts of her kit that makes me very frustrated to see, as it will already tell us what direction Genshin is heading towards when it comes to gameplay and team composition. As you might already know, Skirk has already been officially teased to be a playable character in the next update, and while she looks beautiful from what we currently see in-game and additionally some external sources, we can already determine what Skirk's playstyle will be like. Let's discuss the more frustrating parts of her kit, since that's what you're probably here for. Similar to our most recently released character, Escoffier, you are heavily incentivized to run a freeze team consisting of only Hydro and Cryo characters due to the massive benefits they give. Instead of shredding the resistances of Hydro and Cryo for Escoffier, Skirk gains a massive damage boost based on the number of characters with those elements in the party. We've already seen this type of restrictive design in other characters like Nilo and Chevreuse, but unlike those two mentioned, Skirk's kit will still work even if you don't fully meet those required team compositions, as the damage boost that she gives will scale depending on the number of Hydro or Cryo characters in the party. Even though it's not as restrictive as those characters mentioned, Skirk's kit heavily incentivizes you to run a full team of Hydro and Cryo characters because of how large the damage boost will be. Skirk's kit isn't the only problem I have with her, it's also mainly the lack of options that we have that are available for the community. As of right now, Skirk's best team will consist of both Escoffier and Farina, with another additional flex slot. Those two characters together have perfect synergy. They both fulfill Escoffier and Skirk's team building requirements of needing to have both Hydro and Cryo characters only. They both have very good off-field damage and elemental application for a freeze team. Escoffier provides a massive amount of res shred while simultaneously fulfilling the healing requirements needed for Farina's fanfare stacks. Basically, Escoffier is broken as fuck for freeze teams. The power gap between having Escoffier and not having her is very noticeable because of how much she provides for the team. While yes, you can make a similar argument for Farina and not having Farina, I definitely feel like it's a lot easier to replace Farina compared to Escoffier due to the amount of options we have for Hydro characters. There is also the fact that Farina has been in the game much longer than Escoffier. I believe she's been in the game for over a year, almost 2 now, and she's probably the most popular character in the entire game, which directly contributes to how many people actually have her. I believe she's actually like the most popular or most owned character in the game by now. We really don't have any characters that can do the same amount of things that Escoffier can in the Cryo slot. The only character that comes somewhat close to her is Citlali with the scroll set. Citlali does provide a good damage boost, but there are going to be very glaring problems that she has when using her with Skirk. Skirk teams are going to be very heavily saturated with damage percent due to her own hit, her artifact set giving heavy damage percent, and you're most likely going to be using her with Farina or Yelan. Citlali also does not shred Cryo damage for some reason. She shreds Pyro and Hydro. If you're going to run her with Farina, your last flex slot needs to be a healer to fulfill enough fanfare stacks. There just aren't enough characters that can replace Escoffier due to how overloaded her kit can be. Yes, you could probably use Charlotte or Mika, but they're only going to be there for healing, and that's pretty much it. And this sucks because Escoffier just came out, and if you want to experience Skirk being at her very peak, strong character level, you should definitely be pulling Escoffier as well. We've already seen this happen so many times before, especially in Natlan, with Mavuika being the most recent case, which I've also talked about a while back. The Mavuika situation has definitely gotten better over time since more Natlan characters became available for more team compositions. However, it still doesn't take away from the power gap problem she has between her best teams and the ones that are available. I will admit now that she is a lot more flexible than I initially mentioned, which is something that will come true over time. The same thing can be said for Skirk or any hypercarry in general, but as of right now, I'm still so annoyed by how restrictive team building has become as of recently, especially for a lot of the newer Natlan characters that were released. I understand that they're doing this so that we shift away from using the usual Kazuha, Shilonen, Farina, Bennett, etc. Also, they probably do this for banner sales as well. The reason why these characters are all used often is because they just work in a lot of teams. The strength of these niche supports isn't usually enough to justify pulling them over the usual generic supports anyways. We've only had a handful of restrictive supports that are actually good at what they do, while providing a lot of value, with Escoffier, Chevreuse, and C6 Farozan being good examples. In my personal opinion, I value flexibility and fun over anything else when it comes to pulling any character. But it sucks when you want a cool looking character for them to turn out being one of the most restrictive characters in the game, especially when their best in slot teammates were only recently available. I'm also not the biggest fan of freeze teams. I know, it's ironic. We already know from the artifact set that she will most likely have a lot of front-loaded damage anyways. Well, thank you guys for watching. Remember to sub and like if you enjoyed. Have a good night and day wherever you're at, and I'll see you guys next time. Peace and take care. Have a good one.